The knock on the front door caught me off guard. First, it sounded timid, almost uncertain. Second, it was Sunday and it wasn't even 8 a.m. yet. Third, everyone who mattered to me already had a key to the apartment. Strange, still, it might have been something important. I opened the door. Stunned doesn't come close to describing my reaction to the thin, pretty blonde standing on the porch. "Hi, James." Maddie, beautiful, brilliant. Vicious Maddie, my ex-wife. Maddie. I hated Maddie. My heart raced, but I tried to mask it. "Maddie, I never expected to see you again." "I know you didn't," she replied, her voice soft but steady. "But we need to talk. We should have talked a long time ago." "How did you find me?" I asked, my tone sharp. "I followed you from your mother's house," she admitted. "I remembered you usually go there on Monday nights. It wasn't easy for me to decide to knock on your door." She smiled, but it was weak, unlike her usual self-assured grin. Yet there was a determination in her eyes that I couldn't ignore. "Can I come in?" "What do you want, Maddie?" I asked, my voice guarded. "Please, James, give me 5 minutes and then I'll leave." I sighed dramatically, the limit of my resistance to Maddie's request. I stepped aside and closed the door behind her. She walked into the living room, looking uncharacteristically agitated. I was in no mood to deal with her mess, so I said flatly, "What do you want?" Maddie's big blue eyes darted around the room, scanning quickly. The apartment was sparse, new, and barely lived in. Personal belongings were still packed away in boxes, with the bedrooms, bathrooms, kitchen, and office having taken priority. She glanced at the couch, hesitated, and chose to remain standing. She turned to face me. "Would you offer tea, coffee?" "You're not a guest, Maddie," I replied coolly. "Say what you came to say." "What's up?" She hesitated for a moment. "James, really, I care about you." I chuckled bitterly. "Why do you care?" "I love you, James. I always have." "Is that why you were always sleeping with Tom?" Her face fell. She sighed, her confidence wavering. "You know why," she said softly. "Do I?" I shot back. She hesitated before replying. "He was the first guy I ever loved. My first lover. We have a very special bond. And you didn't think you should have mentioned that to me before we got married?" I asked, my voice rising. "I didn't think I still had feelings for him," she said defensively. "He went into the army. I hadn't seen or heard from him in 14 months, and I fell in love with you. And yet you slept with him every time he came back to town," I retorted, my voice laced with anger. "A few weeks before we got married. For the entire 3 years we were married. God, Maddie, you never gave up on him, not even when you swore allegiance to me. It was all a fact. The detectives had pieced everything together, and the divorce settlement laid it bare. Maddie at least had the decency to look at the floor as the weight of her choices hung between us. "What do you want, Maddie?" I asked, my voice sharp. "I want my husband back," she said, her voice trembling. "I want to rebuild our family." "Ex-husband," I corrected, "and I'm not coming back." "You burned down our family, Maddie." "I didn't want a divorce," she said, her gaze finally meeting mine. "You left us." I shot back. "And then you wouldn't talk to me." "I've been trying to talk to you for 2 years. "I have nothing to say to you," I replied coldly. "And you have nothing I want to hear." "You wanted Tom. Take him." "I wanted to be with you," she cried. "I just wanted him to now and then." "I don't play that game, Maddie," I said firmly. "You didn't get to choose between us, so I made the choice for you." At those words, Maddie's eyes glistened with tears. For a moment, I saw a vulnerability I wasn't sure was real. I don't claim to understand her, but the kind of relationship she wanted would have destroyed me if I had said yes. It was all leading up to this," she said softly. "Your baby needs you, James." Blood rushed to my head. My ears throbbed, and I could barely think straight. "Beth's not mine, Maddie. Tom knocked you up. That came out at the custody hearing." She shook her head quickly. "I feel like we could find a solution together, so you can see Beth." I know you love her so much. I'm not talking about Beth, she interrupted, her voice breaking. We have a son. I named him Jimmy. The roaring in my head grew deafening. I don't know how I managed to stay on my feet, my mind disconnected, retreating to a place where it could try to process the fresh blow. When I returned to the moment, I laughed bitterly. I've seen the show before, Maddie. We're having a baby, James. Oh, James, you're going to be the best daddy ever. I shook my head, the bitterness like acid in my throat. Only it's Tom's baby, not mine. It's true, she insisted. I didn't know I was pregnant when you served me with divorce papers. When I didn't get my period, I thought it was just stress, and by the time I realized I was pregnant, we had already signed everything. Tom and I were making plans for the future. So, what part of your plan for the future brought you here? I demanded. I'm here because I love you, she said, her voice cracking. Under your attitude towards me shows that, I muttered sarcastically. Her tears burst free, streaming down her cheeks. They looked sincere, but with Maddie, you could never be certain. Jimmy needs his father and Beth. Beth misses you terribly. So do I. Beth wasn't even 2 years old when we split, I said. She's been away from me longer than she was with me. You've been able to find me any time since I moved out. So what's really going on, Maddie? Her eyes dropped again, and more tears fell from her long lashes. Tom left, she said quietly, a couple of months ago. I don't know where he is, but he said he's not coming back. Ever. Why? I pressed. Maddie hesitated, her lips trembling. He couldn't accept the fact that Jimmy was your son. I couldn't stop myself. I laughed bitterly, the sound sharp and cold in the silent room. I smiled wickedly. Well then, you've made a bad choice. Please, James, I'm begging you, Maddie pleaded, her voice breaking. I love you. The kids love you. We're supposed to be a family. We belong together. This is serious. I took a deep breath. Who is listed as the father on Jimmy's birth certificate? Maddie sobbed, her body trembling, before she squeezed out almost too quietly. Tom. I straightened up, my voice steady. Then it looks like you're looking for your husband in the wrong place. No, please, James. I really love you. You're the only husband I want. The only one I've ever wanted. I swear it. Maddie's face contorted in agony, her breath coming in ragged sobs as deep regret filled her every movement. I fought the urge to reach out and comfort her, though part of me wanted to. She just looked lost, pathetic. Gone was the dynamic woman I had once fallen in love with, replaced by the sad, desperate version of herself. I felt my heart begin to break for her pain, but somehow I didn't feel any pain of my own. Then I was saved by the sound of a key in the front door lock. Relief washed over me, and a smile of anticipation spread across my face. The door swung open to reveal a slender, dark-haired vision in yoga pants and a puffy jacket, holding a bag of baked goods and a cardboard tray with 2 paper cups, lids on. You're home, I said, smiling broadly. Sally answered with a dazzling smile, but then her eyes landed on Maddie. Her smile faltered, replaced by a puzzled expression. Honey, it's Maddie. The realization seemed to hit Sally, and her lips pressed firmly together before curling into a cold smile. A smile that didn't reach her expressive dark eyes at all. Hello, Maddie. I've heard a lot about you. Maddie's eyes widened in shock, then narrowed into the slits of silent fury. She could only nod, her body shaking with emotion. Without another word, she rushed past us, leaving the door wide open behind her. I closed the door quietly, locking it. Sally turned toward me, concern replacing her cold demeanor. Are you okay, sweetie? She asked softly, her eyes searching mine as her hand lightly touched my cheek. I met her gaze, swallowing hard. Honestly, I'm a little scared. I knew I'd see her again someday, but I never imagined anything like this. What did she want? Sally asked, her voice steady but with a trace of weariness. Reconciliation, I replied, my voice hollow. Tom ran away, and she claims I'm the father of her son. Oh no, Sally whispered. James, can it be true? She asked, her voice trembling. It could be. I paused, realizing the gravity of the situation. When it became clear that Maddie wasn't going to give up on Tom, I moved quickly to finalize a divorce. We had some money, and I gave her whatever she wanted to get her to sign. It's possible she was pregnant, without even knowing it. What are you going to do if that's true? Sally asked softly. I took the tray and bag from her hands and set them on the kitchen island. I unbuttoned her puffy jacket and hung it in the hall closet, then pulled her into a hug, kissing her gently, caressing her soft lips with mine. What we're going to do, I whispered, is what we always do, my love. We'll do the right thing. You taught me that. If I am this boy's father, Maddie and I will find the best way to support him, but it'll be within the confines of our marriage. You and me. I'm never going back to her. Sally smiled, her warmth enveloping me. She melted into my embrace, and for the first time in a while, I felt truly at peace. Sally had become my rock after Maddie's betrayal. At first, I was hopeless, prickly, and suspicious, lashing out at the slightest provocation, real or imagined. But Sally, with her unwavering patience, accepted all my wounds and showed me daily that I could trust her. She showed me that I was worthy, that I could truly be loved. Relying on Sally's kindness, her patience, and her determined love, I had learned to heal, to love again. Together, we had built a passionate, lasting partnership. I loved this woman so much. Besides, I added, running my hands gently over the baby bump that had been visible for a couple of weeks now, we have something of our own, something that will soon demand our full attention. Sally smiled lovingly, her eyes twinkling. Speaking of which, your baby and I are very hungry. Where did you put the scones and tea? We laughed, hands intertwined, and headed toward the kitchen, ready to face the next chapter of our life together.